You know how it is. Every single vendor out there will tell you their solution is the one. That AI voice is the future. That chatbots are the most efficient. But let's be real, most of the time, they're dead wrong, at least for your business. So let's dive in and just cut through all that marketing noise to figure out what actually works in the real world.
Okay, check this out. This quote right here, it tells the whole story. A director of CX was literally on the verge of dropping nearly $400,000 on a super flashy AI voice system. But then they stopped and asked one simple question. Hey, how many of our calls are just basic routing? The answer? A whopping 78%. So they kept their old school IVR for that one job, and boom. It just goes to show you, newer isn't always better.
So that's the big question, isn't it? With all these sales pitches and conflicting advice flying around, how in the world do you actually make the right call for your contact center in 2026? Well, that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to give you a clear, honest-to-goodness framework to do exactly that.
Okay, first things first, we've got to be speaking the same language. The terms IVR, AI voice agent, and chatbot, they get tossed around like they're the same thing. They're not. They are fundamentally different tools for very, very different jobs. And thinking they're all just competing for the same spot, that's the first huge mistake most people make.
Let's start with the classic, the OG, the IVR. This is your press 1 for sales, 2 for support system. We all know it, and, well, we all know it, but listen, it's a workhorse for a reason. It's totally rule-based, it's predictable, and it's been the backbone of call centers for decades. Seriously, don't underestimate its power when it's used for the right job. Next up, the AI voice agent. Now, this is the new powerhouse on the block. Instead of a rigid menu, this thing uses powerful AI. I'm talking the same kind of brain power that's behind tools like ChatGPT to understand natural human speech. You just say what you need and it actually gets it. So think of it less like a phone menu and way more like having an actual conversation.
And finally, we've got the chatbot. Now, it often uses the same powerful AI as a voice agent, but its whole world, everything it does, is based on text. It lives on your website, inside your app, or on platforms like WhatsApp. And its killer feature? Asynchronous communication. Your customer can send a message, go make a coffee, and come back to the answer later. It's a game changer.
All right, so definitions are locked in. Now, let's put these 3 systems head to head. We're going to look at them across the 13 dimensions that actually matter when you're about to write a big check. This is where the rubber meets the road, where we move from theory to the nitty-gritty of running a business.
Okay, there is a lot to unpack on this table, so let's just hit the big ones. First, look at that top row, cost per interaction. I mean, the difference is just staggering. A chatbot can be a fraction of a cent. Meanwhile, an AI voice agent can be 50 cents, maybe more. That's a 50 times difference right there. Now, follow that down to setup time. See how chatbot and IVR are way faster to get up and running? We're talking a couple of weeks. AI voice, it's more complex, so it's going to take longer. But then, look at the ROI timeline. The IVR gives you the fastest payback for simple stuff. The AI agent takes longer to pay for itself, but the potential savings, they can be way, way bigger. That's a huge trade-off you have to think about.
So that table gives us the what, but now we really need the when. Let's talk about how this data actually translates into real-world wins. We're going to completely forget the sales hype and just look at the exact scenarios where each of these 3 systems is the undisputed champ. Let's start with the one everyone loves to make fun of, the IVR. Even in 2026, it wins. And it wins big in very specific lanes. Look, if most of your calls are just simple routing, press 1 for this, 2 for that, then adding complex AI is like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. You're just burning cash and your engineer's time for no good reason. For high-volume, cost-sensitive operations, IVR's rock-bottom price is simply unbeatable. So when is it actually worth paying that premium for an AI voice agent? Well, you do it when the conversation gets complicated and the stakes get high. I'm talking about nuanced medical intakes, processing a detailed insurance claim, or handling complex financial applications. It also absolutely crushes outbound campaigns, like appointment reminders at scale. And it's a vital safety net for after-hours calls or those sudden traffic spikes your human team just can't handle. And the chatbot? Simple. It wins when the customer doesn't even want to be on a live call in the first place. They just want to check an order status, reset a password, or find your store hours on their own time right now. It is the absolute perfect tool for deflecting all those high-frequency, low-complexity questions that clog up your phone lines. And this is crucial. If your audience is on the younger side, they almost always prefer a quick text over a phone call for this routine stuff.
Okay, so by now you've probably figured out the secret, right? This isn't about picking one winner to rule them all. The people who are really good at this stuff, they don't pick one. They build a winning team. The most successful, efficient, and customer-friendly operations don't choose one system. They orchestrate the perfect mix of all three. And if you want to see the power of that hybrid model, just look at this. This is real data from a 14-clinic healthcare network. Before, with just an IVR, patients were waiting, on average, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Ouch. But after they brought in a hybrid system, look at that drop. The wait time absolutely plummeted to just 38 seconds. That is an 85% reduction. Just think about what that does for the patient experience. Now let's talk about the money, because this is how it all adds up. Yeah, their annual tech spend went up by $340,000. That's not nothing. But by automating the right tasks on the right channels, they saved $1.2 million a year in agent labor costs. That is a 3.5 times return on their investment. This is how you build a business case that actually gets a yes. So to bring this all home, here it is, your final decision framework. It's a dead simple mental model you can apply today. Step 1. If your main need is simple, high-volume routing, stick with the IVR. It's the most cost-effective. Step 2. If your conversations are complex, unpredictable, or outbound, that's when you invest in an AI voice agent. Step 3. For all those text-friendly FAQs and routine tasks, you deploy a chatbot. And step 4. If you're scaling and you're dealing with all of the above, the answer is always go hybrid. And that's really the big takeaway here. Please stop getting distracted by all the hype around the smartest or the newest piece of tech. The best system is never a one-size-fits-all solution. It's the one or the perfect mix that is tailored to fit your customers, your budget, and most importantly, your workflow.